Welcome back everybody, I am Carter Sandvin and this is the channel for Sandbox Illustration. Today we are starting a brand new series. Now what is that series? Well, I was going to mention it in my previous video.
Jackals is done and it's not gonna come back. Not gonna come back as a story, necessarily. But I'll get to that later.
But I never did. So just to give some context, in my previous video, all about the death of jackals, it was discussing my long and strenuous journey with my animation project and how my previous story has always kept a place in my heart, but I soon had to just come to the conclusion that I could not make the superhero story that was jackals, no more. But in that video, I did allude to the possibility of doing a series that would relate to jackals, and that is actually what this series is. The Super Sketch series is sort of the same idea of what started jackals in the first place, where I take the people that I know, my friends, family, and I give them a superpower, and then I create a whole unique superhero out of that power that they give me. And the first one is going to be me. And now comes the tough part, because I have a serious problem with myself. I don't know what I want my superpower to be. I've been going in between different powers, and what I want out of my power is something that is A, unique, B, iconic, and C, has the potential for some serious cool action. What I want to go for is I want to bend elements of some kind. I am considering just bending the 4 elements, but I don't know if that's original enough. What I did consider, because in my handy dandy sketchbook, I, at one point, was going to do something like this, where the elements that were used were instead like 5 completely new and unique elements. Those were electricity, acid, metal, crystal, and smoke. I don't know how I feel about those though. Here's what we're going to do. I am going to look up elemental magic and see what is on there and see what I like. The way that I'm going here, I think what I want to do is I want to give myself either one element that I think is super cool, or I think I want to just go with the main 4. I know that that's not unique though, but like I'm feeling strong about it, but I don't know. I think I'm going to go with electricity. That one always seems to stand out pretty cool to me. It's one that's like you typically don't see all the time, and of course there are superheroes that have electricity related powers, but in terms of looking at it as like an element, I think that that's a pretty cool way to go. In fact, I did design a character based off of that one time, and I think I might stick with that, or do I want to go the Metamorph route? That's tough. Now the problem with Metamorph is it's super iconic and it's super unique, but it's kind of tough for action scenes, although with it not being super convenient for action might give it a good excuse for getting extra creative. You know what? Scrap the whole element thing. My guy is instead Metamorph. Very cool. What Metamorph is he's a guy where he touches any substance and he then becomes that substance. So here's how I'm going to do the series. Don't know why I'm not looking at the camera. Hello. Here's how I'm going to do the series. The way that I'm going to do this is on the screen here. So I have my Photoshop open and I'm going to start recording that. We're going to start doing some like plan sketches and just throwing out some ideas for this superhero. And then the end of the video will be all just like the final sketch of Metamorph. Metamorph has always been like one of my favorite superhero ideas. I love the concept. I find it so unique because I always have loved elemental magic, and I find that to just be a really, really cool application of the elements, rather than just bending or conjuring. I did have some potential sketch ideas for Metamorph, and by the way, these are going to be balls-to-the-walls superhero costume designs. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to make a mannequin diagram. So I'm going to duplicate this dude, create a new layer, and draw on top of that. Okay, so I want these guys to have like actual suits, but what do I want to base his design off of? Okay, so like this is the first idea, and it's gonna kind of be kooky, but I am going to try and base his look off of a chameleon. I just want to see what this looks like. Okay, I already like this picture. I like the color scheme on him, like green, black, and white. What's a good symbol? The problem is I had like a design for him before, and he has a symbol on his chest, but I don't know what the what the inspiration of that symbol is? Or do we want his look to be kind of based off of Earth? I don't know, it's tough. So like his whole thing is like adaptation. Because while like we said his power may not be so combat oriented, it is much more like a more of a defense thing, you know? So like he can turn into metal so he can like hold off bullets. He can turn into wood so that he can float. He can turn into like paper or glass, whatever. So like adaptation, I want to be the main thing around this guy. The dragonfly, transformation, adaptability, and self-realization. Yeah, right here, the dragonfly symbolizes change, transformation, adaptability, and self-realization. That's freaking awesome. That's perfect. So what's their color scheme? Already, I love this one. This one is blue. The more that I was looking at it, I didn't really want anything green. What color is a dragonfly? Come in all sorts of colors like red, yellow, brown, and blue. Well, damn, okay. Sometimes the wings have brown spots and bands. Bands, I like that. So let's go ahead and just like at the bottom here, I'm gonna write that down. So I could do just like my favorite color. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, I'm cool with that. Spots, bands. So what I want to do with this guy is that because he's all about like morphing his own body, obviously he's gonna have a suit, but like you want his body to mostly be exposed. My first idea is just like a half suit. So like keep his head exposed. He'll show his face. Do I want him to have things on his hands? Well, this is just me. I could base it around me. Dude, I know exactly what I'm doing. Okay, that collar right there. And then we're gonna have these bands. These bands are gonna resemble my leather jacket, the brown one that I wear. You guys have seen it in the Aces sketch. Okay, so the middle here is gonna play off of the dragonfly. Do I want to give these like a logo on the chest, or do I want it to just be like the overall design of the suit? Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, they all have the symbols like on their chests to represent them. Do I want these characters to have symbols on their chests, or do I want them to just like be themselves and just have like an iconic suit to tie with it? So here's what I was thinking. So you have something that looks like that on the chest. This guy had a coin, and this coin, you like put your blood into it, and then that was like the source that you had to be able to change back into yourself. So essentially what his power is he takes on like the makeup of whatever material he's touching. If he touches paper, he comes out as paper, not because of the paper itself, but because of like biomaterial that makes up paper. And what could also be cool with that is that to keep along with this, he can't turn into things like plastic, because they have to be all natural. So he can turn into like metal, grass, wood, paper, things like that, because those are all natural things, but not something like plastic, you know, nothing fake. And so he's gonna have this coin that will literally be like the centerpiece. And what he has to do is he just has to touch it, and then his body transforms. But then along the utility belt around here, it's gonna be the different materials that he wants to turn into. So like he'll have a little pocket, right? He'll have like a little pocket on his belt, and that'll be metal. This one will be paper. This one will be wood. This one will be plaster. I don't know, something like that. Or concrete, like a rock could turn into stone. So that's the utility belt that he's gonna have around his hand. Maybe one hand is banded, because I'm always wearing like a bracelet and a watch. I'm not today, but he's got bands on. But maybe his hands are completely exposed. I think I want his hands to like, I don't want gloves on him, I think. Wow, this is awesome. I really, really like this. So this is just like the basic design. Like once I get into the actual sketch, I'll get into much more detail for how this looks. Like I want it to be looking like, you know, sort of Kevlar material. A lot of outfits in Marvel really have that texture, that material that I'm a fan of for superhero suits, to where, you know, like they're not metal, but they're also not just spandex. They look more like body armor. I'm a big fan of that, and so I want to go that route with these. I really like the dragonfly concept, because they're like different. There's some dragonflies that are pink. I don't even want to do another design. This is already perfect. I don't care. I know that that's kind of breaking like one of the top artists' rules, but I'm legitimately going to start getting into like colors now. So I like the collar kind of looking like my like red jacket here. Let's size this down. So it's going to be kind of like that wool material. And so I want to keep the bands that same like burnt sienna color of my leather jacket. Or those ones are actually a bit brighter than that. It's like more like that almost. And then the rest of the suit could be that warmer color. And I don't need to use these exact colors, just like a rough idea of what the colors are actually going to be. So I want the actual, like, wings in the dragonfly design to be, like, a really bright gray. So it's, like, a lot of warm reds and browns, you know? Because the problem is, I kind of have, like, 3 different favorite colors. I go back and forth. I know. Hipster being indecisive on what he actually has a taste in, I know. There are 3 colors that I kind of like. It's maroon, cyan, and purple. Like an aqua color. The boots, I think, would be nice. It's just like a desaturated muddy brown. I don't know what colors like complement each other. That's the problem. I need to do more research into that, like complementing colors, because that's something that's extremely important, especially for like my line of work. So the next color scheme that I want to try, I kind of tried it on this page and I talked about it a little bit before. So here we basically have like 3 main colors going. We have the color of the torso, color of the arms and legs, and then color of the bands. Now, we have 2 more colors. It's like a rich green, but I almost want that green to be a bit more like a nice tree. Already that looks pretty good. Okay, so I'm just gonna replicate this over here. This one is going to be switching the color of the torso and the limbs. Do I want to try purple? I don't know what purple would look like. Hey, try every idea. It's better to throw away an idea. What? What? It's better to throw away an idea than to completely miss it. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, so immediately I want to play with like more crimson than anything. So I'm gonna try and replicate kind of the one up at the top. I'm thinking like hard gray for all of the bands actually. The problem is none of these colors scream adaptation. You know what I mean? Those colors don't. I'm not feeling that. Like overall, I think that like these 2 up here, probably this one, the last one up on the top right. I think I like that mixture more than the first one. But here's the thing. That I think those colors look cooler together than the first one does, but the first one I think fits more with the idea of adaptability, you know? Another thing too, it almost feels more like an autumn type thing, and it feels like it fits more like seasons could be a cool idea to play off of too. And I think that those colors really do complement the concept of change, because these are just cool colors. And I mean, these ones might be more nature related, but these ones here are just more overall screaming that to me. So here's what I want to do. Something about this one isn't really catching my eye. Maybe let's try the torso being like a super deep maroon. Or actually, before we do that, there are some other designs that we could play off of. So one of my superhero ideas, so it had the bands idea, and it sort of looked like this. So the boots would actually be the color of the bands on the arm? No, I don't like that either. Here's what we're gonna do. We are on the right track, I think. Then gray for the limbs. Boots, sort of have them resemble hiking boots, and then the bands right there. Maybe the torso be a more burnt sienna color. Those all complement each other a lot better. Let's try that design with the red. Yeah, that is it. This right here. It is perfect. We have got the design for Metamorph. Now I say we just hop right into drawing Metamorph. This is super cool. I'm very excited. I don't really have anything else to say other than let's get to drawing. Everybody, we are finally done with our first super sketch, which is Metamorph. Now, with all of these, I just want them to be us. That was kind of my whole concept around this. So as you can see on Metamorph, it's just me. You know, he's got my hair, he's got the little ponytail going, although mine does not look nearly as glorious as his does in that sketch. But this gets across every concept that I want of Metamorph. So we have one arm that he's using turned into steel to block bullets. The other one is wood. And what I wanted to get across with this was, if you see that the color of this wood is the same as that one, I thought it might be an interesting idea if that was the wood that he used to change. So then the other arm he used what's on his utility belt. Now his utility belt down here, as you can see, his utility belt is different materials that he'll change into. So this one here on the farthest right is steel, the one next to that is a rock, the one next to that is wood, then that one on the other side is paper. I know that that's a strange concept, him turning into paper, but Adam actually gave me the really cool idea of him becoming paper, but he almost looks more like a very complex build of like origami. It would still be my overall physicality, but you would see like the creases and the sharp corners, and it would all just be like one big giant 2-scale origami guy. So I thought that paper would be a really cool one to have in there. And plus with paper, you have the benefit of being lighter, having a larger surface area, so you'd be able to float and you wouldn't get fall damage. Speaking of that, getting into the actual power itself. So what happens is essentially every single cell in your body, when you transform as Metamorph, each cell is replaced. Instead of your like biological makeup, it gets replaced with a cell of whatever material you're transforming into. So every cell in my hand would then become wood. So that still allows for my hand to have its natural build, where I have fingernails and I have all my joints and even some form of blood flowing through. So my hand is exactly the same in its structure because each cell is replaced with wood in some way. Same with the steel. And then if you look on there, he has his utility belt and there's a coin. I don't really know what the name of the coin is. I'll have to think more on that. In fact, maybe an episode down the line, once we have like a roster of superheroes built up, will be the backstory for each superhero and how they all will come together. But for now, he has this coin, and if you look in there, the coin is laced with blood. And the reason for that is that coin is what gave him the enchantment to become essentially one with the environment, the one with your world. And so when he has this coin with him, he now has the enchantment and he can essentially interchange with everything around him. So the coin takes his blood so that it can then detect the cells of his blood and his DNA, and he can turn back into himself. So that's the catch to this power. If I don't have that coin with me, then I can't turn back into my original form. So I'll go and I'll touch the curtain and then I become fabric, and I'm like, okay, I need to turn back now. I'll grab my coin. Let's say that my tape is the coin. I'll grab my coin, press on it, and my body will soon turn back into my own body. And so that's how the power works with Metamorph. I don't think I'm going to get into lore or backstory with these just yet, because now that I'm talking about it, what I said before is actually a really cool idea. Once I get all of these characters built up, then I can maybe make a mini story around all of them. Obviously it wouldn't be like a comic or anything like that, but it would just be like a story that I present to you guys here on a YouTube video, and it could maybe even be like a little story time video. I don't think there's actually anything else to explain here with the sketch, because you guys know about the costume design. We did that before the sketch. You guys know how the power works, and everything else is just to make a cool action piece. Anyways, yeah, that is Metamorph. I hope that you guys enjoyed this. I hope that you guys are going to enjoy this series, because I know I am. This was a super fun exercise for me to just get some of the superhero out of my system. But anyways, I don't think I have anything else to say. So, I am Carter. This is Metamorph with Sandbox Illustration. Make sure to check in the description for links to more of my content, and then like the video, comment on it, and subscribe for weekly art and superhero related videos. Anyways, have fun, dudes.